and to do so alongside a massive programme of house building, such as has not been seen in this country since the days of Black Earth. That is what we will do during the years ahead of us. It's a big moment for our country and a point of decision for this sector. Now, I'll be completely candid. There are some who say that to achieve the transformation that we need, it requires a fresh start. That the housing association sector has taken us so far, but may not be the right partner for the future. That the energy and appetite for rapid and creative development is not what it was. That in truth, the sector's heart is in providing properties for rent, with little zeal for widening opportunities for home ownership. That what was an insurgent movement has become staid, with development too low and top salaries too high. That for the transformation in housing that we seek, we should look elsewhere. To councils through the devolution agenda, to private developers, to our own agencies in government, and to new vehicles for home building. But there's another one. And the other view is this, that this is a sector, all of us in this room, a part of a sector that has scored big successes over many years through being agile and adaptable to the changing opportunities and requirements of our nation. A sector that's always been respectful of the mandate that successive governments have had. And deep in the DNA of this sector is an instinct to empower and give opportunities to people, going beyond the strict business of building and renting out a stock of housing. And that the devolution agenda, putting local communities in the driving seat, is an unmissable opportunity for associations who know their communities inside out, often better than most other people in those communities. The view that this is a sector that is a standing army of expertise, motivation and experience capable of building with energy and alacrity hundreds of thousands of new homes that our country so desperately needs. So two contrasting views. Be content with the achievements of the past, or look to build and to own a new future. And the choice between them will determine the very future of the housing association movement. My unambiguous opinion is that this movement's greatest potential lies with the second view. You're already helping to reverse recent history, helping build more homes than we've done for years, and housing more people as a result. And of course, you helped build 80,000 shared ownership homes over the last decade. Now, I want you to expand your mission by expanding the opportunities of home ownership even further. And in no way would such an expansion essentially contradict your important historical mission. Let me explain why. David Orr and I have spent the summer working together on a proposal that he has for a big place for this sector in the future of housing. At its heart is a joint commitment to build more homes than we have built for decades. And it's based on a recognition that you are voluntary organisations, perfectly capable of working with me and Brandon Lewis, my housing minister, and the government, as willing partners rather than requiring legislative compulsion. So David's proposal is in three parts. The first is that the opportunity of extending the right to buy would be embraced voluntarily by the sector. In keeping, rather than against, in keeping with the housing association tradition to empower and meet the needs and aspirations of tenants, associations would give the chance, not just to some of your tenants, but to everyone who wishes to take it, the chance to own their own home. In other words, all 2.3 million tenants with the same degree of financial help through discounts that are available to council tenants. In every case, the tenant would have the chance, if they want, to achieve their goal. A home would be made available for new residents and housing associations who build a new property, expanding the housing association stock. The presumption would be that most people will have the chance to buy the home that they live in. But just as with the council right to buy, sometimes there may be good reason why that's not in everyone's interest. Likewise, the association would have the discretion, reasonable in the spirit of the agreement, to offer an alternative property for sale. And the tenant would be able to take their discount to a newly built property. Each property sold would have the discount refunded by the government at open market value, so that no one is out of pocket. Now, the second part of David's proposal is that the sector would have a guaranteed place as a major force in building new homes. Every home sold would trigger a new home being built by a housing association on a one-for-one basis. Every tenant who exercised the right to buy, our housing stock would rise by one. Releasing the equity in people's homes in order to build new homes that can otherwise be supplied would be one of the principal benefits of the right to buy. Under David's proposals, it would be housing associations, rather than alternative partners of the government, who would build hundreds of thousands of these new homes. Furthermore, we want these homes to be built as quickly as possible. As you know, councils have had 3 years to build a new property when the right to buy is exercised. I want to speed that up. The NatFed has challenged us to simplify the regulatory hurdles so that new homes can be provided within 2 years. I will rise to that challenge that's been set, to bring forward more land for development, including public sector land, to allow a broader range of new properties, including starter homes and shared ownership, and where the right to buy is exercised in an association that's not developing new homes, the proposal is that the NatFed would help match them with an association that is keen to develop. The third part of David's proposed agreement would be to make an historic change. Rightly or wrongly, the housing association movement has not been principally associated with extending home ownership. Now, in many respects, as all of us know in this room, that's very unfair. You've been constrained by regulation, by public policy, and by your public sector partners over time. And yet, even with these constraints, you have managed to be inventive and committed enough to find ways in great number and great profusion, ways to allow those people who want to achieve their aspirations through such things as flexible tenancies and equity stakes. So I want to work with you to provide the means for every tenant who wants to, new or existing, to have the opportunity to acquire a stake in a home that can increase over time. I was very interested in the discussion in the sessions this morning that came from a number of the speakers. And I want to follow the same golden principle that applies to the right to buy, namely that where a financial contribution is injected by tenants, all of it should be used to build new homes. Taken together, this is a proposal that offers the chance of a new partnership between housing associations and the government. It's one that would respect the independence and the voluntary ethos of the sector. And it provides both for the extension of the right to buy and for other ownership opportunities, and critically, for the expansion of home building. It's a proposal that if it were put to the government by the whole sector and agreed, it would make it unnecessary to take legal powers to extend the right to buy. But of course, that is for you collectively to decide. And I'm sure David will want to say a bit more about that with you in a moment. So let me conclude here today by thanking you for your invitation. It's been a fantastic time here. I've really enjoyed renewing old acquaintances and making new ones. To say how grateful I am for everything you've done in the last year and then the last few difficult years to make sure that the cardiac arrest didn't flatline when it came to house building. You performed an enormous service to the whole country. So thank you for the support and the strength you give to our communities up and down the country in the vital work that you do beyond the laying of one brick on another, 3 bricks from each other. And to say, finally, how very much I'm looking